I anticipate you've probably heard about the most recent remarks out of the president in regards to this new $2,000 dividend that he wants to distribute to everyone, right? So the last couple of days here, he introduced this. He brought it out 2 days ago. And then yesterday, he doubled down on this idea for the $2,000 dividend. Now, this is still very much a thing. There's nothing out there contradicting, saying that it's not going to happen, but there's also not a ton of evidence coming out suggesting that it's absolutely going to happen either. However, it is something that the president has talked about multiple times now, as you heard me talk about in the live streams and the videos yesterday. This is now the fourth instance so far this year in which the president has endorsed the distribution of money to us in the form of a rebate, a dividend, a distribution, a stimulus, whatever you want to call it. This is now the fourth time. However, there's some other things that we want to think about when it comes down to this, because although this would be awesome, it'd be very, very good financially for a lot of people. It would help out in a massive way. I think we also need to look at some other aspects of this $2,000 dividend, $2,000 stimulus, $2,000 payment to virtually everyone, or at least the low income and middle income individuals, as he has indicated not to include high income people, as he indicated in that post just 2 days ago. Okay. So anyway, I just want to talk through some of the details about it, because I think it would be very relevant just to think through and talk through the details of this, as well as how the Supreme Court actually plays a major, major role in the distribution of any money out of the administration because of tariff revenues, things like that, and what the Supreme Court is looking at and basically deciding right now. Okay, right now they're deciding some information right now which will directly impact the distribution of these $2,000 payments or anything of this sort going forward. And I want to talk about it now. I also, before I say that, I want to preface this by saying the distribution of dividends, stimulus, rebates, distributions, anything to us in the form of payments directly to us, these can come in a variety of ways, like a lot of different ways. Okay, there's not just one way that these can be distributed. It could be all kinds of different methods. So if one way doesn't work, that does not mean that it's gone forever. It does not mean that, oh no, that's it, can never get another payment like this. Here's the thing as well. I pointed this out many, many, many times over the years. Stimulus checks are not new at all. This is a concept they have been doing for a long time. Virtually every single contraction in the economy, every single recession is met with stimulus. In fact, if you have not done the research and the homework that I have assigned in other videos over the years, it's actually very interesting. Look all of the recessions up that we've had, the major recessions over the last 25 years, they've all been met with stimulus. Obviously, the recession of 2020 with the lockdowns, the subprime boom and bust, situation with the housing market in 2007, 2008, that was met with stimulus, as well as in 2000 with the dot-com bubble, all of which were met with massive stimulus. The only thing that differs is the dollar amount in which is sent out to the people, which is also a very interesting thing because it continues to double every single time. In 2000, it was $300. 2008, it was $600. And in 2020, it was $1,200. Continues to double. Very interesting, right? So who knows? Maybe this next time will actually be $2,400, which would be a perfect double off the last. So anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but all I want to say is that this is definitely not a new concept at all. It's a very common thing that they pull out of every playbook anytime the economy goes down, okay? However, let's also look at what the Supreme Court is doing right now, the major actions and the decisions that are going to be coming out very soon, and how this could massively impact these $2,000 payments that are coming out or being announced by the president, as he mentioned just 2 days ago, and he doubled down yesterday as well on these $2,000 payments. Okay, obviously the president loves tariffs. He's made that very, very clear. He thinks that tariffs are the future of this country. He loves tariffs, okay? I'm not here to say that tariffs are good or bad. I'm just saying he loves tariffs. He made that very, very clear. He's also indicated the money for these dividend payments, the distributions, the money, the stimulus that we're all talking about, the $2,000, would be coming out of tariff revenues, right? So money paid on tariffs would be coming back to us as a little bit of a profit share, otherwise known as a dividend. That's literally what a dividend is a profit share. So anyway, that's what that would be, okay? However, let's think about the Supreme Court now. What are they doing? They are talking about debating the implementation of tariffs and if these tariffs are actually legal the way that they were put on, okay? There is a potential that they may force the country, the United States, to pay back and repeal all, or at least a huge percentage of the tariffs that were put on earlier this year, back in April, okay? There is a possibility that they may need to remove all of the tariffs and pay them all back. The president is also indicating that would be disastrous financially for this country, okay? Now, something that I just want to point out, okay? If this happens, all is not lost at all, but rather this would be one potential way to finance the distribution of money, as in dividends, stimulus, rebates, distributions. One way to finance that, as I've been talking about, would be through the tariff revenues, okay? That's one way, and the way that the president has most commonly been talking about is taking some money from the tariff revenues, distributing it back to us in the form of these payments. $2,000 is what he's looking at least $2,000, by the way. Who knows? Maybe it'll be more than that, but he's talking about at least a $2,000 dividend to everyone except for high-income people, as he stated. Okay, but if the tariffs are denied by the Supreme Court and they are forced to be repealed and paid back, is that money going to be there to pay out money to us in the form of a profit share dividend from the tariffs? The answer is nada. Nada. That money wouldn't be there, right? At least from the tariffs. Oh no, that means we'll never get another stimulus check in our whole life. I would say not a chance, because we have other ways in which this money could be distributed. Okay, the tariff revenues, honestly, would be a really great way to do it. Reason being is it's money coming into us, and we're not digging a big debt hole trying to get all this money to basically distribute it to the people, right? We're not digging a big hole of debt and then to get this money out to the people, which is generally how they send out stimulus, because here's what they do. We go into an economic contraction, we go into a recession, lawmakers come forward and they say, hey, economy's not doing good, what should we do? Oh, let's print up a couple trillion. Let's give it a cute name like, gee, I don't know, how about CARES Act? Or maybe American Rescue Plan. We'll call it those names. We'll put a price tag of, say, I don't know, 2.2 or maybe $1.9 trillion. These are real things that happened, by the way, a couple of years ago. And then it has all kinds of money in it, tons of money, and a few $100 billion for stimulus checks within it. Okay, so that's what they do every single time. But where do they get the money from? Well, they print it. That's what happens to it. They don't physically pull out a printing press and be like, we're going to print $100 bills today. No, they don't do that. They literally go on a computer and they type in a couple digits and say, voila, we just printed $2 trillion, just like that. And there you go. And there goes the depletion of our purchasing power, and there goes more inflation. Once all that money gets distributed into the economy, it's more money chasing too few goods and services, therefore driving prices higher, otherwise known as inflation. That's exactly what happens, okay? So it's too much money chasing too few goods and services, which is literally what causes inflation. But anyway, so that's another way that they do it, and that's typically how they do it when it comes down to the distribution of any money, okay? But the deal is here is that we would need to see that major economic contraction, recession, which honestly, if you're looking at some of the data that's out there right now, it's honestly not looking all that great. There's a lot of different things that are happening right now. Some major warning signs popping up in the private credit markets, not looking so good, okay? We don't need to get down that road here in this video, but there's a lot of factors that are playing out right now that are honestly not looking good for the overall health of the economy, at least in the short term over the next, call it, say, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, something like that. Not all that long. We could see a major implosion in a pretty nasty way, okay? But that is one way that they could do it, okay? So anyway, any day now, when we do get this decision out of the Supreme Court, when it comes down to these tariffs, if the Supreme Court comes out and rules that the tariffs were unlawful, the president did not have that power to unilaterally implement the tariffs that he did back earlier this year in April. If the Supreme Court rules that, which at this point, it's honestly looking like that is a possibility. I was just reading some more information on this. There's actually a pretty high possibility that the Supreme Court may rule that most of the tariffs need to be repealed and actually paid back. Can you imagine how much of a disaster that's going to be to try to pay all that back? It's not going to be good for this country either. Reason being is we don't have any money as a country, and now we have to cough up like, what, a couple $100 billion to pay back, and the money that we don't have, it's already been spent. You know what I mean? The money is not there. So this could be an ugly situation for the overall economy if they were to do that. Okay. But anyway, so if the Supreme Court comes in and if they really do actually rule that these tariffs were unlawful and they repeal them and it all has to be paid back, that could get nasty. But then again, you're going to see all over in the headlines. You're going to see it everywhere in the headlines. I guarantee it. If this does happen, you're going to see everybody saying, oh, that's it. No more $2,000 tariff checks. Okay, fine. It may not be a $2,000 tariff check, but then what happens? Economy goes down in a ball of flames. And then guess what? They call it a stimulus check. They call it an EIP, economic impact payment. They call it a distribution. They call it a who knows what. They give it some random name. It doesn't matter. It's all literally the same thing under a different name, if that makes sense, right? Okay, so let's see what happens here going forward. But I've been doing some more reading on this, and it's not looking honestly all that great for these tariffs to stay in place as the Supreme Court continues to figure out what they're going to do here. It's looking like they're thinking that they may need to be repealed. Now, one big question that I have around this as well, and I'm probably going to be, what a foolish comment or what a foolish question this would be is, okay, they need to repeal the tariffs. They need to pay back all the tariffs. Does that mean we're going to get paid back too? Because we're the ones paying for the tariffs at the end of the day. We're the ones paying for the majority of the tariffs. Does that mean all of us are going to get like a, I don't know, some kind of refund, a tariff, a refund check? Maybe that's the new name of these payments, right? Maybe we'll all get a couple $1,000 just to pay us back for how much we've gotten stiffed over the last 6 months, right? With all these higher prices. I don't know. All I'm saying is that, are we going to get paid back? I'll just tell you the answer right now. Not a chance. Not a chance. Are they going to do that, right? But we're the ones paying the tariffs at the end of the day. Now, my next question would be this. A lot of prices on goods have also been increasing because of the tariffs. Are those prices going to come back down? I don't think so. The prices that you're seeing on your store shelves when you go to the stores to buy your items, I don't think those prices are coming down, okay? Maybe a couple select items throughout the store might see a little bit of a price decrease just to appease us a little bit and be like, here, let's go out and let's help some people. Let's lower the price by 10 cents or something like that, right? Other than that, I don't think so. I think those prices are going to stay exactly where they are because that's not really how prices work, right? They go up and they pretty much stay up forever. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Anyway, I still have a bunch of comments rolling in, a lot of questions rolling in on this $2,000 talk out of the president from Sunday. Okay, so a couple days ago on Sunday morning, the president wrote over on Truth Social. He indicated that a dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone, okay? Will be paid to everyone, and this would be paid out of the tariff revenue. So that's what he said, okay? He indicated it'd be paid out of the tariff revenues, a $2,000 dividend, at least $2,000 dividend, not high-income people, will be paid to everyone. Very, very nice. And then yesterday, he was out again, doubling down on this, suggesting that the payment would be to low and middle income USA citizens. I'm not sure why he called us USA citizens. I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. Wouldn't you say like Americans or something? I don't know. Anyway, he called us USA citizens. So there you go. That's what we are, I guess. Okay. So there you go. This is what I wanted to share with you really quickly because the Supreme Court is still deciding this right now. And we're likely going to have a decision like very, very soon on this. So when we get that decision out of the Supreme Court on these tariffs, I just want you to be aware that if they strike these things down, you're going to see it everywhere in the headlines. No more $2,000 check. The stimulus and the dividend and the tariff checks are done. That's it. And okay, fine. Maybe that one idea, maybe that one source in which they would have been paid from, maybe that's not feasible anymore. But at the end of the day, we get stimulus when the economy goes down. Every single time. So we're on the brink of an economy that's honestly not looking very good. So that could be our next catalyst, just like I've been talking about for so long now, which is there's a lot of catalysts that are playing out right now and kind of time is of the essence. But realistically, the best way to get this money to us is honestly paying them right out of the tariffs would actually be a really good idea just because the money's coming in. It wouldn't be like, hey, let's take on a couple $100 billion of debt to send out these $2,000 payments. They basically just say, hey, we got more tariffs. let's peel off a couple $100 billion. Let's send it out in the form of payments. And there you go, right? It's just a distribution of that cash to us. Kind of makes sense? Anyway, for those of you who've been asking questions on this, stay tuned. Again, this is still very much fresh. He just talked about this 2 days ago, doubled down yesterday. I'll continue to watch for your questions and your comments, and I'll continue to answer those. But this is something I certainly want to think about, and I just want you to be aware of as the Supreme Court is out right now making these final decisions. Otherwise, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. 100% free, big subscribe button down below. Please share the video, big share button down below. Otherwise, stay tuned. We've got a bunch of things coming out. By the way, another decision out of the Supreme Court this afternoon. Stay tuned on that as well. That's going to be another topic. It's going to be a busy rest of the day here. I'll keep you posted. Again, please subscribe if you're new. If you have not done so, please subscribe. Share this live stream so other people can also understand the magnitude of what is happening.